Got my 7th hug in.
Thank you, Danny, so much. Well, first of all, I want to start off with, it's fine. I'm incredibly grateful and happy and excited to be here in this room today, because based on the brief introduction that you heard, I grew up in a society and in social circles where it was really tough. And you'll get to hear the story more, but I shared a little bit as well at our meetup. But I'm super, super excited to be around wonderful people like you, who are open-minded, who want to travel, who want to grow, who want to do something meaningful in their lives. So big hand of applause for you guys. Today, I will share a little bit about my social health framework and the ideas that are behind it, and also how this came about, and the impact of friendships on mental health, and also where our world is headed today with AI and technology and all of this, and also how authentic friendships, relationships, and communication impact our success in life and in business as well. So just quickly, a little bit about me. I'm 25-year-old Nomad, right now based in Da Nang. I started traveling back in 2022 after I quit my full-time job. I'm a factory boy who became an entrepreneur, grew up in a factory family, everybody working in factories for their whole lives. So it was really, really tough to get out of that. You'll hear more about the story later as well. Sometimes I'm a little bit of a weirdo, silly goose, and a hugger. Maybe you've seen me doing free hugs. I've done free hugs in about 4 continents, 8, 9 countries, so absolutely recommend it if you haven't tried yet. And as you heard, I do social health coaching. I'm a co-founder of the Academy of Creatives and the Creator Dream House, co-living in Vietnam, and also the philosophy of RoboHumanism that I'll share a little bit later as well. And quickly as well, instead of me telling you everything, just quickly play this video.
Year-old man, from a person who is very shy and insecure, and then to a very, very confident guy.
He has a passion about health that is just infectious.
I connected to his heart and he's been coaching, and I think he really understands my questions and my problems, and he's gone through a lot of them himself as well.
I was in the best place with myself. I did not have the best relationship with myself.
Drowning in uncertainty, I didn't know what I was doing, and there was so much self-doubt. He was in my corner every step of the way.
I really like Audrey's passion and his energy for his coaching sessions.
And I'm so grateful that on this part of my life, part of my journey,
I'm at the best place that I could be right now.
I felt like I could do anything. I'm more confident in how I show up in my business.
He is willing to put in the hard work and sacrifice that's needed.
I highly recommend him to anyone who is starting out in online business or content creation.
Every time when I'm on a call with you, it's a time well spent. So if you want to take your business or your life to the next level, make sure you get in touch with Andre.
Andre is a mindset coach, international speaker, and a best-selling author who overcame depression and social anxiety without therapy or meditation. He's worked in 8 different fields in 4 different countries before becoming fully self-employed at the age of 22. Since then, he's been a digital nomad visiting more than 20 countries. His expertise is in helping individuals find their purpose and passion in life, overcome social anxiety, and start their impact-driven businesses.
If we have mentally in our next generation, it's going to take off.
So I thought that I would let other people who I've had the privilege to work with or get in touch with share a little bit more about, instead of just me telling me, oh, this is how great I am, I think it's better to hear from other people. So do you know, now let's get into the meat of the talk. Do you know what the best and greatest, biggest resource for success in life and in business is? Just shout out, what do you think is the biggest, best resource? Just shout it out, yeah.
The readiness to communicate, no matter what.
I love that, awesome. Any other thoughts? Who you know. Okay, that's a great one.
Grit.
Grit, that's an amazing one too. I believe that there's actually 2. There's actually two. It's a trick question. Number one is your emotional intelligence, how you can deal with your own emotions, and how you can also deal with and help manage other people's emotions. Because humans are emotional and social creatures, right? So we always make decisions based on emotions, and then we justify with logic. And then the second one, very equal, is your network or the people power, right? Because who can help you? Where can you get help with almost anything in life? Like, do you need funding for your business? Who can help you with funding? Other people, right? Who can help you, support you when you're having a really hard time? Other people. You reach out to a friend or you go to a therapist, right? So any problem that you have in life or that you will have in life, other people can help you solve it. But not by, and this is very important, not by exploiting or using or trying to manipulate people to get help, but by building real, authentic, and deep and meaningful relationships, right? We're not trying to be like, oh, what can I get from this person? How can I get into this crack? No, like, I want to be there authentically and develop a deep relationship, so then it's a two-way street. You need help, I'll help you. If I need help, I'll ask, and I know I can receive the help. Thank you. So, quickly, I read the room for the past 2 days, and I've noticed that there's a little bit of a gap, and somebody also asked, like, how can we get the most out of this event? So I thought I would quickly throw a little bit in there, like my 2 cents of how you can get most from this event as like an extra little step. And to go over this really quickly, I believe that the one way how you can get the most out of this event is to ask people this amazing question. How can I help? Just ask at least 5 people in the next few days, how can I help you? And here's some tips for the real world, because you probably, if you don't know anybody and you just run up to somebody like, how can I help you? Well, they'll be like, oh, I don't know you, like, I don't know, right? So here's some few tips for the real world. Build rapport and have a conversation first. Be curious and learn about people, right? And specifically, learn about their passion projects. If you've spoken to me, I've probably asked you, what's your passion project? Learn about their passion projects, learn about their goals, and learn about their challenges. And also, have some answers ready, right? Because a lot of the times people will be like, I don't know how you can help me. I really don't know. So you can say, I can help you connect you with somebody that I know, help expand your network who might be able to help you with the challenge that you just shared. Or I can share some resources, books, courses, refer you to places, tell you about events. Or we can just have a virtual coffee or a coffee later on, and we can sit down for an hour or more to talk more, right? And I can find out how I can help you. And follow up. A lot of the times people will go to this event and be like, oh my God, I met these amazing people. I met Brad over there, and I met Dawn over there, and then that's it, right? Follow up with people. Put a list, make a spreadsheet, whatever you have to do. I like to take a selfie, send it into the Instagram chat right away, and follow up. Set up the coffee chat, set up something. Don't lose the connection after the event. So that's just really quickly about how you can make the most out of this event. And now I want to share a little bit about my story. So my story started in a small town in the Czech Republic, and the turning point kind of where I want to start is when I was around 13 years old, where I was getting bullied in school, and I was getting, not very badly, but slightly abused at home with very tough and strict parents, and it was really, really tough. And as a 13-year-old boy, you know, if your home life sucks and your school life sucks, what do you do? And so I developed very bad depression and social anxiety, and I really felt all alone. Have you ever been even in a room full of people and still felt lonely and isolated? Right? If not in a room full of people, we've all felt isolated and lonely sometimes, right? And it's a big problem these days. And so this was my entire life. And no matter where I went or no matter who I spoke to, I still had that deep void and fear that everybody's out to get me, that everybody wants to hurt me, because I was hurt in school, at home, everywhere. And that's one of the reasons why I say I'm so grateful to be in the situation where I'm at now, around all of you amazing people, because it wasn't like this before. And I had a commute when I went to my primary school when I was 13. I had about 15 minutes to walk to school, from my home to school. And one of the sections was a train track. And for me, a couple months were so bad that every time I went to school, I was pondering, like, what if I just never get to school? What if I just end it right here at this train track? what's the point of living anymore? And thankfully, I didn't decide to choose the train track, and I continued going to school. And there were a couple reasons for that. I want to share 3 really quickly. Reason number 1 was that I Googled how to be happy. And that's how I got introduced into the world of personal growth. Reason number 2 is that I discovered videos of random acts of kindness. And that's why I love content creators so much. Because I was watching these videos and crying my eyes out of seeing people, amazing people out there. And I just thought, wow, there are amazing people out there. It was the light at the end of my tunnel, my hope, that there are amazing people out there in the world. I just need to go out and find them. And again, super grateful that I did. And then number 3 is that I discovered what it meant to have a real friend. And I would argue that along these 3, this was the main one. So what happened was, I created a friendship that didn't make any sense from the outside. I was the shy, bullied kid. Nobody really liked me. You know, people came to me for school help, but then bullied me. And then the friendship that I made was like one of the main popular girls in school. She was beautiful. She was funny. Everybody loved her. And I got kind of lucky because she shared the same commute. Now the problem was, and why it was such a beautiful friendship, is because even though she had it all from the outside, just like me, she was just pretending that everything is okay. She was just pretending that she's not really suffering. And she always wore black, all black, black pants. And it wasn't because she just loved wearing black. It was because she was hiding all the bruises from her dad. She got very badly beaten up by her dad at home. And when we first connected, the friendship became so beautiful because we didn't need to pretend anymore that everything is okay, but we talked about the darkness. We talked about the train track and how we just want to kill ourselves and how we never want to go home or we never want to go to school again. And by sharing that darkness, we brought in more light. And that, very emotional, very shaky, but because of that deep, emotional, raw connection at the edge of human emotion, that's what helped us push through. And thankfully, we both have really amazing lives now. And I put the photo of us walking, or of a couple walking a dog, because we would go out and walk a dog at a field right behind our city, and that's where we would talk about all this heaviness. And obviously now I travel the world and I speak on stages. She has a beautiful family and 2 beautiful daughters with an awesome guy. So it all worked out for us for a really, really amazing life. And I believe that it came down to that connection, to that deep emotional friendship where we didn't have to hide anymore. So have you ever felt like you're hiding something and you can't share with anybody? Right? What would it feel like to have many people like that in your life that you can just share and have an amazing connection with and help create more light even from darkness? And so since then, I've been on a quest and on a mission of personal growth and learning and studying and being obsessed with social health. And I came up with some of these concepts, and I tried exposure therapy, and I came up with these ideas of a confidence building habit, which became my running, right? Waking up at 5 a.m. and going for a run every morning. Some of these things that complemented my growth along that deep, meaningful connection. And I discovered that it's not about quantity. Again, like we can be in a room full of people, but still feel lonely and isolated and disconnected. It's not about how many people we know. It's about the quality and the depth of the connection that we have. And that's a big part of the social health framework that I will be sharing later. And so this was the beginning of my social health ideas. And just an example as well, like a really vulnerable one that's more recent right now, is me and Sam, and we live in the Creative Dream House. And right now there's about 8 people living there. And it's me and my fiance as well. And my fiance has been struggling with really severe PTSD from her trauma and from really, really bad stuff that's happened in her life. And I want to share a little bit about Julia and my fiance and our roommate Chris. And I couldn't be more grateful for this person that he came into our life and that I was able to attract this kind of social circle. Because one day, a couple months ago, Julia was having a really, really hard time, and it's a lot for me to take, right? Like, we can't always support our loved ones by ourselves, especially if they're struggling with something really deep. And she was gone the whole day, and we were all worried, like, where is she? And she came back like 10:30 at night, and she was really, really disturbed and really triggered. And the first hour, if you've never seen anybody or you don't know how to deal with anybody who's really triggered emotionally, a lot of the times it will first come out as anger. So she came home and she was really angry, and it all kind of came out. We were asking like, hey, where have you been? Are you okay? And her anger came out. She was just screaming for like 30 minutes. And I'm so grateful for Chris, because he just sat there and he let her have the emotions flood out. And the second stage of letting these emotions out with people like that is usually deep emotion and crying. And so after she was exhausted from screaming, she then started crying, and she cried maybe for an hour. And I sat there as she cried in Chris's arms, and they had a really amazing, beautiful bonding moment, and we all hugged at the end, and we were all laughing and joking. And again, just a beautiful example of how other people and how the social circle that you construct around yourself can support you and your loved ones as well. So big hand for Chris. Big hand for Chris, yeah. Thank you. So do you want to know how I did it, from people who judged me and screamed at me and yelled at me and abused me, to being around people like you and living with people like Chris who hold the space? Yes, all right. So first, let's talk a little bit about the philosophy, right? Because philosophy behind everything is, your personal philosophy is your foundation. It determines of what you will do and what you won't do. It determines what you will create and what you won't create. Even if you have the best frameworks, the best ideas, if the philosophy and if the mindset is not there, it will not work, right? So the philosophy is really important, and it's mainly, in my eyes, it's mainly about your core values and your core beliefs. So I want to ask you, what is life? If you could say what is life in one word, shout it out. Shout out, what is life in one word?
Freedom. Philosophy.
Freedom, philosophy.
And experience.
Experience, love that. Growth, love that. Amazing, thanks for the answers. I believe that life will be whatever you choose it to be. The problem is we never consciously choose what it is. Some people say that life is a test. Some people say that life is a battle. Some people say that life is a dance, right? And we have to consciously choose what is life, because that metaphor will control everything else. Like, if life is a test or a battle, how is life? It's probably really hard and stressful, right? Because tests are stressful. But if life is a dance, it can be passionate. You can do it alone. You can do it with other people. So you have to really consciously choose what is life. What is your metaphor for life? And I decided that life is a video game. And if life is a video game, it's all about having fun, right? That's why we play video games, to have fun, and also to explore and level up within that video game. And that's how I've been living my life since 13 years old. And that's why, you saw the bio and what I've been able to do, even at 25 already. That's a big reason why, because I believe and I look at life as a video game. And a little bit about RoboHumanism, I believe that our main mission in the next few years is going to be to create a healthy relationship between humanity and technology, right? We have a lot of talks about AI and how we leverage it for business and all this. But what about the relationship that we have with it? And I also believe that in order to have a healthy relationship with technology, we have to have a healthy relationship between humanity and humanity. And that's where the social health framework comes in, that I'm going to share a little bit later. And also, I believe that the experience of life is sacred, especially the experience of emotions. That's why expressing and feeling emotions is so powerful, rather than pushing them back and pretending that everything is okay. That's why it's healing. So some core principles of my philosophy as well. Really quickly, I believe that number one, we have to upgrade our software, which is our mind. Have you ever heard of the triad, the mind, body, and spirit? Right? I just translated this into a little bit of technical words because I studied electronics and robotics when I was in high school. So we have to continuously upgrade our software, our minds, learn, listen, read, go to conferences like this, take care of your hardware, take care of your body, right? Exercise, eat healthy, all of this kind of stuff. Really foundational stuff. And be the player. The player is the spirit, is the consciousness, is the one who controls the body and the mind. I can consciously choose what I want to do or what I don't want to do. I can direct my mind to what I want to think about and what I don't want to think about. Right? And it's a practice. It's more of a spiritual practice. I love The Power of Now. If you don't know the book, write it down, check it out. And this is just a little graph. I'm not going to go into this, just so you can see I've been working on this since 2020. There's a lot more that goes into it. You can reach out to me if you want to find out more. Oh, okay. So as a RoboHumanist, I am not afraid of technology, but I leverage it to amplify my humanity and to amplify my connections. I don't chase people, but I engineer connections. I'll share a little bit more about what that means and how we can start and how you can start as well. Instead of trying to chase people and those connections, how you can create them in a more constructive and intentional way. And again, I value depth of connections much more than the number of contacts. Anytime I would take one conversation where we cry and we hug than having 10 conversations that don't result in any more meaningful connections, right? The depth of relationships is ultimately infinitely more important than the number of connections. And because it's a video game, I always want to level up. I'm always looking for level up. So how do you level up in life? I created this principle, this cycle of personal growth. There's external work and then there's internal work. When I work with people to help them overcome social anxiety, a lot of the times they get stuck because they are either stuck with one thing or they are stuck with another thing. So internal work is more about your beliefs, your values, your emotions, your traumas, and it needs to be addressed. But also, people can get stuck in just like, I'm just going to sit here and meditate and do nothing, right? Or I'm just going to talk about my trauma in therapy for years and years and years, and then they get stuck as well. So we need to complement it with external work, which in other terms can be exposure therapy, going outside of your comfort zone, trying new things, meeting new people, practicing your skills, learning about things that you can do, and then practice them in real life, right? Like, oh my God, it's so scary to go on stage and do public speaking. I used to have severe social anxiety. But because I was doing a lot of external work along the internal work, I'm now able to speak on stage as well. And as an example, I want to give something that's really real to all of us, right? Social media. Sam had a really good segment about social media. So who here uses social media on a daily basis? Right? Probably all of us. And I'm gonna share two examples, and I want you to be honest and share like who you are more like, right? Who you are more alike, because social media in and of itself is an amazing tool. I love social media, but it can be very toxic or it can be really amazing. So example number one is Bob, right? He just mindlessly scrolls for hours. He never really comments on anything or just engages with negative comments because that's where his mind goes. He just compares his life to other people as he's sitting at home, and he's not really starting any conversations, right? So that's Bob. And then we have Sandra, who is using Instagram in a much more different way, where she's very intentional about how she's consuming the content, right? She maybe takes notes and scrolls on with a Pomodoro method like Sam shared with his app. She's engaging in the comments, she's starting conversations, and she's becoming more inspired by others rather than just comparing her life. And sometimes she also creates her own content. So if you had to be honest, who here is more, and obviously we have a mix, but who here is more like Bob these days? Okay, some of us. And who here is more like Sandra on a daily basis? Lovely. Okay, so. Both? Yeah, it's a mix, right? So the aim is to go more towards being like Sandra and being less like Bob sometimes. And my experience with social media actually came in when I was overcoming social anxiety. Just like for a lot of people, it causes more anxiety. For me, it helped me overcome it. And the reason was because I didn't start using Instagram or Facebook, any mainstream social media early on. When I was 15 or 14 maybe, I downloaded this app, and it was, I wish I could show it, but I don't remember the name of any of it. It only had one feature. In the middle of the app, there was this big globe, and you just clicked the globe, and there was a little paper airplane that flew around the globe, and it matched you immediately with another person who at the same time or around the same time clicked the globe as well, anywhere in the world. And it put you into an anonymous chat. And then if you can talk and you can share names and you can continue the conversation. That was my introduction to social media. And I used that for years to help develop my conversation skills and develop how I talk to people and overcome my social anxiety in the very early stages where there was no chance I could talk to strangers, right? And so that was my introduction to social media and to technology like this. So when I went on Facebook, when I went on Instagram, I already had the mindset of I want to be more like Sandra. Whereas 99% of the world who downloads social media, who goes on social media, is like Bob. We don't have this kind of education. We don't have this kind of mindset for social media. Maybe here we're all digital nomads, we have businesses. In this room it might be different, but worldwide, it's a big problem. And in a big way, social media and the passive use of social media has contributed to the loneliness epidemic. Look, to Tony, you shared this slide. To me, these stats are they are heavy, but they're not that important because we have to remember that every single number is a human being, right? It could be you, or it could be you, or it could be you. And a lot of the times, these people will be hiding it. Again, like almost all of us raised our hand that we felt lonely and isolated in a room full of people and we were trying to hide it and pretending that everything is okay. So any of these numbers, it could be any of us, or it can be anybody who you meet on the street. So just remember that. It's not, the numbers are important, but it's the human beings that are underneath these numbers. And here's a big danger of AI. We talked about agents, we talked about assistants, and there wasn't much talk about companions. I'm not going to go really deep into this, just be aware. And also, if anybody shares that they've been using AI companions, just make sure that we have more knowledge and education about this. It is a big danger because people who are lonely and isolated and don't have really great social skills, they will default into AI companions who are designed and programmed to not have any needs of their own, any needs. And they will be there for that person all the time. And so it will lead to something that is called now empathy atrophy, right? Totally one-sided relationships where we don't know how to communicate with humans at all. And we don't know how to handle ourselves, our own emotions, and definitely not with other people, because anytime something happens or I feel not great, I'm just gonna go to my AI companion who doesn't have any needs of his own, doesn't have any emotions, is only programmed to serve and make me feel better. With the humans, that's not possible, right? The relationship need to be two-sided. And this will, I believe that this will be a big problem coming up in the next few years. So just wanted to caution people a little bit. Now, the good news is that there's also a way, alongside using social media actively and all of this, the social health framework, I believe that it will be a big part of the solution here. So I divided it into two parts, again, more internal and more external. So internal is more about the confidence and, in other words, the relationship that you have with yourself. Just like when we're going to be building a healthy relationship with technology, we have to start with the humanity to humanity relationship. If you want to build good relationships with other people, you have to start with the relationship that you have with yourself. So some of the parts are self-love, right? How you feel about yourself, how you interact with yourself. Social skills, very important, very, very important, but less important. And then social habits. Social habits are in turn, like Sam or me also shared, like some of our social habits were just hanging out with stoners, right? And so our social habits can be very constructive, like going to conferences and so using social media actively, or they can be very destructive, like using social media passively, or going out every night to drink with your buddies. If it's in moderation, it's fine, but if it's every night, it can become very, very destructive, right? So we have to look at our social habits, because we all have social needs, we are social creatures, and we all create social habits that help us fulfill our social needs. And AI companions are going to be one of those very bad, destructive social habits, right? So again, just be aware of that. And then the other side is the relationships that we have with other people, and it's about the depth of the relationships. So there's some parts to this, like honesty and trust, being able to trust people and be honest and vulnerable, right? Vulnerability is a huge one. And then the concept of reciprocity, right? Again, two-sided friendships. And it's not about, hey, I get. No, you give, and then you receive almost automatically. And a lot of the times, it doesn't come from the same person. Like I can be giving here, and then out of nowhere, from that table will come back more than I've given here. That's how reciprocity works. You're not giving to like, hey, this is more like manipulation, right? Like, hey, I'll give you, but you owe me, right? No, like, hey, I give you, and I know I'm going to receive. I have trust in the universe that I will receive. I trust in the law of reciprocity. And it might not come from you, it might come from somebody else. So, I want to share how this worked for me in my life and how I created some wild, like, I wouldn't even imagine results that just still blows my mind, right? So, I started my coaching business when I was 19 years old, and I was obviously like big problem. Hey, you're a kid, nobody's going to listen to your life advice. Why should anybody listen to you? But my biggest problem was that my parents were actually super supportive, like especially, well, my mom maybe in the middle, but my dad was like super supportive, right? So every time when I started working on my business, I would be just in my room, like on my phone, Googling how to make money online or how do I become a coach and all this. And my dad, ridiculously supportive dad, he would go into my room, he would burst in the door and be like, hey, so are you making any money online yet? And I'd be like, well, no, I just started like a month ago trying. And he would be, again, very supportive. When are you gonna give up on this stupid dream? Very supportive, right? And so my answer, I was lucky because I was already working on my personal development for so long. My answer was, well, I don't care if it takes me 10 years, it's still gonna be worth it because I'm 19. If I can travel the world with an online business and speak on stages, when I'm 30, it will be so worth it. Doesn't matter how much work I have to do. And it ended up being just a few years, you know, it wasn't a decade. So again, just to show that no matter how your social circle is now or how supportive people are around you now, you can build an amazing life. Like now, if I say, hey, I want to start this business, I want to do this project, I want to do this. If I go to our house, to our co-living, and I go to one of the people, the first reaction would be like, yes, let's go, you can do this. And second one, okay, let's brainstorm, like let's pull up a whiteboard, let's see how we can do this, right? Note, when are you going to give up on this stupid dream? Have you anybody had tell you, when are you going to give up on this dream, or this is dumb, this is never going to work, right? We all know how that feels. So, because I had this mindset, I was able to just start challenging myself, and I decided to go live every day for 90 days on Facebook to just share my story, to talk about some advice, and just try and help people with social anxiety and with personal development. You know, I didn't have any business knowledge back then, but I just wanted to help, right? And I had two main goals for every single video: share a little bit of what's happening in my life right now, and just give a little tip or a story about how people can benefit, right, from my journey. And so a lot of the times it would be just me walking from work or walking from school, like, hey guys, today I'm just walking from school, I'm super tired, but like I want to share a little bit, you know, if you want to build more confidence, go running, for example. Super simple stuff. And that's what I did for 90 days. And then at the end of the 90 days, I was like, wow, that was amazing. I have a few people watching and I feel more confident, I'm a better speaker. But it didn't create the results that I was hoping for. So I did another 90 days, and then I did another 90 days. So it ended up being like almost a year of just going live every single day to practice my speaking and connect with people and share some value, share some advice. And the win that it created, that somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle, I got this really curious message. And it was a really long message from a total stranger who never liked any of the videos, never commented on any of the videos. I basically didn't know that he existed. And he sent me this really long message of like, I've been watching your videos and I absolutely love what you're doing and I love your mission and I love your heart and I want to help you out. And at the end of the message, he said, I have $10,000 as a budget for your education. And then obviously, as any of us probably receiving a message from a stranger like this, my first thought was, that's obviously a scam, right? Nobody's gonna give, no stranger on the internet is just gonna give you 10 grand, right? But I thought, you know what? What do I have to lose? I'm just gonna go along with it, right? And so I replied, and I was very honest. I was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you've been watching the videos, that you've been enjoying it. And to be honest, like I've never even seen $10,000 in my life. I don't even know what I would do with that kind of money. So, you know, but I was just talking to this coach that charges $3,000, and you know I didn't have the money to pay for it, so I could use $3,000. And he was just like, all right, cool, what's your bank account details? And I just sent him my IBAN, right, being safe and whatever, that he can't actually get my money. And like within 2 days, just $3,000 landed in my account. And I got a message from him like, hey, let me know if you received it. I sent it. Enjoy the coaching. Let me know how it goes. And whenever you're ready, you have 7,000 more on me if you want it. Yeah. So it was real. It was real, right? Still blows my mind, by the way. Still blows my mind. And so how is this possible? How is it possible that some random stranger on the internet, on the other side of the world, he was from Indonesia, by the way, I was in the Czech Republic, never really traveled out of Europe back then yet. On the other side of the world, he was just like, hey, I want to give you $10,000. And it was big help that I could really use, right? I was working really, really hard and I couldn't afford almost anything. And so how is this possible? Well, first, I developed a really good relationship with myself because I worked on myself for so long before then. And I really loved who I was at that point. And I knew that if I just put myself out there fully, then something would come out of it, right? I didn't expect $10,000 from a stranger, but you know. And then I was communicating, right? I had pretty clear communication. I was putting it out there on the videos and in in-person conversations as well, right? So big key as well. I was being vulnerable on every single one of those videos, right? Again, remember the 2 goals that I had? One was to share what's happening in my life right now. Oh my God, I'm struggling so much. Like I'm super tired. I slept 3 hours because I have to work and I have to pay rent to my parents, all this, right? Just really vulnerably sharing like, oh my God, like this is really hard to try and build this business from scratch, right? I was being very vulnerable and I was being generous. Like I wasn't gatekeeping anything. I was just like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I've done. This is my mission. Please take all of it and benefit from it as much as you can. And he saw that, right? And so I was giving here for the videos, on the videos, and I had people, you know, sharing stories like, oh my God, like I feel so much better. I was suicidal, and now because I see your story, like it was deep, right? Like there were some deep connections through the videos as well. And so I was giving, and then out of nowhere, I received. So that's the law of reciprocity at work and how it impacted me in my life as one example. And so I also want to share this quote that the quality of your life will equal the quality of your relationships, right? Again, back then, when I was just around people who were so toxic, my life kind of sucked. And right now, my life is kind of amazing. And it's because I have really good relationships with people around me. And I want to share even a deeper point. So this is a photo. I don't actually remember any of these. So my point here is like the quality of your relationships is not only about your friends or the people that you know, but it's also about yourself and with strangers or with the humanity in general, with the world, in general, right? So this photo, I don't actually remember any of these people or any of these names. I don't have this amazing selfie, and it's an amazing memory. I remember every single part of the experience. I haven't been in touch with these people since, but it was a very pivotal moment in my life. This was actually a photo from the last day of my job, of the day when I quit my job and I said, I'm never coming back. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a digital nomad when I was 22. And so I want to ask you, have you ever worked super hard on a goal? Like for years, worked hard on a goal, and then you finally achieved it, and you were like, wait, is this it? Wait, is this what I worked for? Right? Who can relate? Like, is this what it's supposed to be? And so I spent years and years and years grinding and sleepless nights and trying to figure it out, investing my time, money, energy. And I quit my job. I was working at the airport in Amsterdam at the time, and I took the train right from my job to the beach, right, to this beach, amazing place. And I sat down on the floor, on the ground, to overlook the sunset. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what is this? Like, I feel empty. I thought that I'd be excited. I thought I would be so fulfilled that, oh my God, I achieved it. And I was empty. And I was confused. So my first thought back then still was, let me smoke some weed. And that didn't help. That only made me more anxious. And I was like, okay, now I feel empty, anxious, like what is happening? And thankfully, I remembered something, that the secret to living is giving. This is a quote that I heard from Tony Robbins. I don't know if he came up with it, but I remembered this. In my existential crisis of, oh my God, I achieved my goal and now I'm high and scared and anxious and empty, like what am I gonna do? I remembered this. So I ran, like 10 minutes before closing time, I ran into this store, to buy flowers. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give away flowers to strangers on the beach, just to celebrate, and that's gonna help me, right? And I ran, and the store closed, like right in front of me. And so I was like, okay, well, what's my backup? I went to a supermarket, and I bought like 15 fruit salads, right? Like just packed fruit salads. And I went on the beach, and I just was giving them away. I was like, oh my, and people were asking like, why are you doing this? I want to celebrate, oh my God, I just have a big milestone, and I felt kind of empty and lonely. And my heart started opening up, and I shared my win with other people. And oh my God, it was a beautiful experience. And I met these people at the end of the fruit. As soon as I ran out I had like 2 more fruit salads. And I came up to this group, I'm like, hey guys, I'm giving away free fruit salads, do you want it? They were most excited people that I've ever seen. They were, oh, wow, oh my God, thank you so much, oh, come sit down, super welcoming. So I ended up spending like 2 hours, and we had really deep conversations. And they walked away really inspired about me, of like, I shared my story of like what I've been through, and we took a selfie, and I remember that for I'm gonna remember that for a very, very long time. So 2 things to remember from this is that the secret to living is giving, and that the relationships that you have with other people, the relationships that you have with the world, with humanity in and of itself, even with strangers, will equal the quality of your life. Right? Yeah, let that sink in a little bit. And so are you inspired to build some real meaningful relationships and improve your relationships? Yeah? Glad to hear. So let's make it really, really practical, right? Let's make it really practical besides the framework and the philosophy that I shared. So the first step of engineering the right connections, I believe, is to create something like this, which I call the perfect friend or the perfect connection profile, right? We all in business talk about ICP, like ideal client profile and all this, but have you ever sat down and be like, hey, who are the amazing people that I actually want to connect with? What are their values? What are their goals? What are their beliefs? What are their interests? What are some of the activities that we want to do together? And when you do this, something really magical happens, is that your brain starts to look for these people, and it becomes much easier to find them. Because these people are out there. I felt like maybe sometimes these people are not out there when I was just struggling. And then I discovered, oh my God, okay, they are out there, I just need to find them. How do I find them? Well, I come up with who exactly they are and what we can do together. And then the next step, the second step of this, would be to start becoming more of that person that you want to attract, right? So first step is get clear on who are the people that you want to have around you. And then second, be honest with yourself. Like, hey, am I that person? Like, if I came across this person tomorrow, like, would they want to be my best friend? Right? Maybe yes, maybe not. You have to be really honest with yourself here. And if the answer is not, then it's okay. But you can work on it. You can use the cycle of personal growth, internal work and external work, and become more of the person who you want to be. Become more of the person you want to be around with. And then secondly, I created this daily social health checklist. You can do this like as a daily challenge for like 7 days or something. And this is super, super helpful for deepening the connections that you have or creating new, better connections, having more inner peace, more fulfillment in life, more happiness, and it will also help you build more confidence. And it will help you connect deeper with yourself, improve the relationship that you have with yourself, and also the relationship that you have with others. So it's really easy, three parts. Just take 5 minutes every day to connect with yourself and with your body, right? Like sit down, take a few deep breaths, do a little bit of a short meditation. It doesn't take long, but just reconnect with yourself to nurture the relationship with yourself. Secondly, you can do simple confidence muscle reps. You can wave at strangers. You can give people compliments. You can say hi to just random people on the street. Here in Nepal, it's really easy. In the Western world, it's not so much. But it's still very helpful. It's still very, very helpful. This was one of the exercises that I did that helped me overcome social anxiety, and the reason why I'm here today, by the way. And then the last one, I really enjoy this one. This is the hardest one, but maybe the most impactful one, besides connecting with yourself, is to send a gratitude text. It is so easy to express anger or dissatisfaction or be unhappy with somebody, right? But when was the last time that you fully embraced somebody and like fully say, hey, I'm really grateful that I have you in my life. And I'm grateful for what you've done. I'm grateful that I met you. Right? It's not so easy to express love and gratitude to other people, but it's really easy to express hate. And one of my friends, I want to share this as well, like one of my friends, he was just, one of the exercises that he did, I'm just going to say I love you to strangers. And me from Eastern Europe, like that's really cringe, right? Just like, we don't just say love, like I never even heard that in my family, let alone just going around saying I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, right? So cringe, so uncomfortable. And I asked him like, why do you do that? That's so weird, that's so uncomfortable. And he said something like this, like, why is it normal for us to express hate, especially in the Western world, like in traffic and stuff, right? It's so normal and so easy. We are so quick to hate, but we have so much resistance to love and to gratitude. And since then I was like, wow, okay, well that makes a lot of sense. Let me practice this. Let me practice this. And the responses that you will get are absolutely incredible. The responses that you will get from your heart, the warm feelings that you will get by doing this is absolutely incredible. So 100% recommend it. Yeah, can change your life. Just sending a simple gratitude text. You'll probably be shocked of the responses that you get. Like you can go back 20 years, somebody that you met 20 years ago, remember them and be like, oh my God, like I'm really grateful of how you impacted me back then. Like I'm where I am now because of you. Imagine how that's gonna make you feel. Imagine how that's gonna make them feel. Right? That's the depth of the connection right there. That's the meaning, that's the fulfillment. One more question?
Thank you. I had one question. I agree with most that you were saying about like saying hello to somebody and connecting with yourself and all of that. But sometimes, wouldn't it be draining also to always be putting yourself out there and always be giving? And some people are more introverted already, so that might not suit everybody.
Great question. Awesome. So firstly, I'm a massive introvert myself, right? And I mean, you noticed, right? You're like, hey, you have a speaker badge, but you don't speak much, right? So you will see me very often being very reserved. If I want to, I can be very extroverted, very animated and all this. I can't do it very much. And I normally don't, right? So it is a balance that you can find for yourself. However, it is, if you find that right alignment and that right balance, it is not draining, it is fulfilling. And so I would encourage you to test it out. And I've overextended myself many times where, I overdid it for sure, right? So it is more of a balance. You got to find that right alignment. But ultimately, it will be really awesome. And you can figure out this way, through this, you figure out where you are, right? Because if you don't do it at all, you won't know. If you do it a little bit, then you still won't know. But if you do it a lot more and you push yourself towards your edge and you're like, okay, I don't like that. That was too much. Now you know where your edge is. That's kind of how I look at it. So I would encourage you to take it as an experiment. And it doesn't have to be really big interactions, right? It can really just be like, hello, and that's it. Like you don't have to have a full conversation or anything. And then you can feel into yourself and be like, okay, I'm just gonna be more reserved. And there's so many different activities that you can do like this. You can be more proactive about it. Like you go out and start the conversation, start reaching out to people. Or you can be more passive about it, that you attract people towards you. And I've done that with signs, like maybe with like a free hug sign, or I'm looking for friends, come say hi sign, right? I think you've seen me do it here, right? So you can just sit there and be like, hey, I'm looking for friends, come say hi. And people will come up to you and be like, hey, are you looking for a friend? Oh yeah, right? And so that's more of an introverted way to do it if you want to connect with people, but you just don't want to bother people, you don't want to overextend yourself. And to wrap up fully, if you want to try one of these, I recommend free hugs. I've done this in 4 continents, maybe 8, 9 countries. It's one of the most beautiful things that you can ever do in terms of developing a better connection with people and falling more in love with people and having more empathy, like an empathy muscle. And the reason why I say that, because I've had many experiences where I felt like crap. Even as an introvert, I felt like crap. And this was in Chiang Mai in Thailand. And I was like, okay, I'm not feeling really that great. You know what, let me try just do free hugs. And I went out there and I just stood at like a market where it's like thousands of people, and I put my sign above my head, and within like 10 minutes, there was a young girl crying in my arms, saying, I just lost my mom last week. You don't even know how much I needed this hug. Goosebumps, right? So amazing, beautiful connection right there. And I've never seen her again, right? But it's incredible how you can impact people just with a hug. Like that, yeah. That's it.
Thank you.